Venerable Swami Mahansa, I decided to report on this particular sitting because this one was quite different from the others. This time, when I sat for the meditation, the usual flux that I was accustomed to was not experienced. After a few minutes of sitting, even though my sensation of the breath had disappeared, the body sensations didn't disappear as it used to. I sat there for a few minutes, a bit frustrated and nervous, but then I recalled you mentioning about the impermanence of the meditation object. I put my disappointment aside and thought of welcoming this new experience. So I took my attention to my body. After a few minutes, my body became very restless. I was sweating from head to toe. I felt vomitish. I felt I could not take it anymore. I wanted to get up, but an inner voice kept saying, "Are you giving up? Where is your determination?" I forced myself to sit for a few more minutes, about 10 minutes. Then I got up and went for walking meditation. I felt like a drunkard. I could not walk straight. After about 10 minutes of walking, I went back to sitting. The earlier observations were still there, this time even more vividly. I sat there for another 10 minutes, observing my restless body. This experience has made me more humble, and surprisingly, I feel lighter and happier since that. Theruvan Saranai.
Three examples cited by the commentators. They say a new person going into the sea with a small dinghy boat. So whenever you climb into the boat and it is floating, you feel unstable. So you feel vomitish. It's called sea sickness. And whenever you go into the sea, up to the 5 miles, you can see the land. And after you lose the sight of the dry land, you get completely sick because your reference point lost. So likewise in the meditation also, first to lose the primary object, or specifically the discrimination between in-breath and out-breath, the discrimination between the rising and falling, the discrimination between the left leg and right leg. And still, some or the other, you manage with your posture. And in sitting, sometimes you lose the posture also. Then seasickness happens. You are vomitish. You can't be there. Exactly the same thing happens when you are going to the thicket of the forest. After a while, you lose the direction. Unless otherwise you have a GPS and kind of thing, so you completely get bewildered. It is called in Pali Disamaru. Your mind orientation disappears. And the third example is when you are going to a desert. You have novelty idea to go into. But when you go in the middle of the desert, every direction is the same. Unless otherwise you have stars. Night you can just see, otherwise you get lost. That is the places where you have the ghostly beings and bewilderment, mystics, everything happens because mind become disoriented. So exactly the same thing happen in Vipassana. So how can we invite people to do Vipassana? They go mad. So Venerable Dhammajiva was the person taught me. Later he told, I am not teaching because it is sending people mad. Just like they go into the deep sea, or they go into the desert, or they go into the forest. So much of attraction for the egotistic thinking, self-motivated thinking. So we have a reference point, the breath, the body, all the kind of thing. Ultimately everything is wash off. Where are you? Who am I? What are the boundaries? Moment the boundary goes, you feel vomitish. You feel disoriented. So that is the point. You can see the Bhavatanha, how it is searching for a reference point to get an establishment. So our whole life and the worldly knowledge is to get that anchorage, get that reference point, get that benchmark, that is what we call the fame, gain, money and everything. So when you renounce and come here, at last you have your body, and at last you have the breath. And when they are disappearing, so you have to say Allah, you have to say the cross, oh Allah. But unlucky enough, in Buddhism there is no such a person. Buddha is not the refuge for you. Buddha wanted to completely send you macerated, evaporated, and then see what happens. So 50% go to Nibbana, 50% go to the asylum. See, day by day I experience it. I wonder why I am not going to the asylum. Because due to your presence, due to the people of man presence, I get my reference point. So therefore go prepared. You have no GPS. You have no orientation. You are just going. And the point is, You feel fear. You feel uncertainty. You lose boundaries. So Eric Fromm is writing the fear of freedom. Fear of freedom. When the freedom comes, it appears like no boundaries. So you feel vomitish. You feel nauseating. You feel allergic reactions.